Oh, I had it all planned out, the house and the white picket fence and 2 or 3 kids and a dog, and he would work and I would stay home, but things just don't go the way that we have planned. As a little girl, I had the fairy tale romance dream. Cinderella was my favorite princess, and I just loved that story of the Prince Charming coming along and sweeping you off your feet. Oh gosh, I remember on that first date, he showed up with 2 dozen flowers, pink roses and purple irises, and I was really blown away. We went to Hearst Castle together, and we went ski to put me in a ski lesson, and we had adventures together. We got married in Hawaii, and it was just an absolutely beautiful day, standing under the arbor with the ocean breezes and the waves in the background. It really was that fairy tale moment, and he really was that Prince Charming. Our first years of marriage were really great. We were traveling, we bought our first house, we got a puppy, and I remember saying, before we're parents, we need to make sure we can survive raising a dog and the dog survives us. After McKenna was born, that really changed me. It was just a different sort of love than anything I'd ever felt. Probably around the time Kenna was 5 or so, things kind of felt like was struggling. Addictions and dishonesties and secrets on both of our parts that really ultimately tore us apart. And while we as individuals have survived in our healing, the marriage didn't. It's a harsh reality, from the fairy tale beachside wedding to accepting that you are divorced. It's tough. I was dealing with a knee injury, not working, and we were struggling, and I felt very hopeless, jobless, penniless, trying to figure out how I'm going to build back any life that I can be proud of. Fall of 2016, approaching my 39th birthday, I was putting my daughter to bed, and I just kind of asked her, hey, McKenna, who do you want to be when you grow up? If there's a celebrity or a politician or a sports figure? And she looked at me for a moment and didn't say a word and just kind of pointed. And I remember just the feeling of, oh, wow, she wants to be like me. Why would she want that? There's so many better things to choose. If she thinks that I'm what to follow, what am I following? My daughter was plugged into Three Crosses in the 2020 ministry. It just made sense that Three Crosses was the place for me to at least begin my journey. I started on Sunday services, and I learned about our process of life transformation through following Christ. I met people and started developing friendships. I started to long to be there, and Sundays became the bright spot of my week. My life began to change. My heart began to change. What mattered came into focus. I was reading a book, Wonderstruck. One of the things that she wanted you to do was write your forgiveness list. I sat down at my vanity and I started writing my list: addictions, my selfishness, my bad choices as a mother, my contributions to my divorce, and at the end having to put 2 things on the very bottom line because they wouldn't fit because my list was so long, and reading it through and just saying, Lord, I'm every kind of sinner. How can you possibly love me? And I remember crying out in my despair, and my tears dried up. There was a peace that came over me, and that list, exactly what her instructions were to tear it up, and I ripped it into the smallest pieces I could. I found the prettiest perfume jar that was sitting on my vanity, and I put them all in there, and it's my reminder, my sins are covered. They're completely covered by the blood of Christ. The scars are always going to be my story of how I'm an example of God's grace. So I can't forget the sins that I needed forgiveness for, but I shouldn't continue to carry them with me. Is a relationship God better than the fairy tale that I had as a child? Absolutely. It's greater than anything I could have ever imagined, because it's what I can't imagine, and then some. There's so much more. God's so much bigger. His love is so much greater. Christ exemplified that, and he showed that, and he walked steadfastly to the cross to cleanse every sin that the world could bring. And what he did was enough. And I don't have to be enough. I just have to rest in what he already did.